Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fourth edition of On the Glass. I am your host, Brandon Abels. Tonight, we are going to be talking college football playoff championship. Full disclaimer, I am recording this the night before the game, so hopefully this will upload on YouTube in time for my preview to go public, so you know who I predict to win the college football playoff. The game is going to be played in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. So it's going to be kind of a home field advantage for LSU, I think. I think it's going to be an LSU-heavy crowd. But it is still kind of a neutral field, and you kind of got to give Clemson a lot of credit. Those guys seem to travel a lot. So I say it's going to be about a 60-40 split, maybe close to 50-50, but I predict a 60-40 split in favor of the LSU Tigers. Clemson is opening up this game as a 5.5-point underdog. That kind of shocks me, to be honest with you. Clemson is an undefeated football team. Throughout the season, they were pretty much only tested one time, and they almost dropped a game that they should not have dropped down in Chapel Hill against North Carolina. North Carolina had them on the ropes. North Carolina, at the end of the game, could have kicked an extra point to force overtime, but instead Mike Brown and the Tar Heels went for two and missed it, and Clemson hung on by 1 point. That was pretty much the only time that they were tested all year long. So how they're opening up as a 5.5-point underdog is beyond me. But we'll break it all down. I got all kinds of statistics here for you for both sides, and we'll come up with a winner based on statistics. That being said, Clemson is averaging 45.3 points per game this year. That is an outstanding number. And you got to think, for most of the games, Clemson did not play their starters for whole games most of the year. Clemson is one of those programs that can play 80, 90, even 100 different guys during a game. So that is a lot of points, and nobody could really stop them all year long. On that note, Clemson was averaging 538.4 yards per game. That is an astonishing number of yards. That is just mind-boggling, really, that one team can average that many yards. Of those 538 yards, 292.2 were passing yards and 246.1 were rushing yards. Trevor Lawrence and that offense, they're potent. They got a great offense down there in Clemson. So how will they fare against the LSU defense? We'll get into that in a second. But I look for the Clemson offense to be able to go up and down the field on LSU tomorrow or today. Hopefully this average uploads, and it'll be today when everybody gets to see this. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But I predict that Clemson will be able to go up and down the field on LSU tomorrow. Let's see. Clemson is only giving up 244.7 yards per game. To me, that statistic could be a little skewed just simply because the teams that Clemson played versus the teams that LSU played, night and day difference. Let's face it, the ACC did not stack up well to the SEC in football this year. LSU plays in the toughest conference in America, in the toughest division in America, period. When you got LSU, when you got Auburn, and when you got Alabama as the 1, 2, and 3 teams in that particular division, that is just mind-blowing. And they have to play those teams every single year. So for LSU to go undefeated is a lot more impressive to me than Clemson going undefeated. The ACC was down this year. Florida State, down. Louisville, down. Boston College, middle-of-the-road football team. NC State, down. So I don't see the appeal for the ACC as far as schedules go, but that is what it is. They cannot help that their conference is down. They did have a common opponent this year. Clemson played Texas A&M early in the season. Clemson won that game 24-10, with Trevor Lawrence having 268 passing yards and having a pretty good game. LSU won that game later in the season against Texas A&M 50-7, and Joe Burrow had 352 passing yards. So in the common opponent, you got to give the edge a little bit to the LSU Tigers. They played a better game and had a larger margin of victory against Texas A&M. Burrow had the better game throwing the football. So take that with a grain of salt. Compare how you wish, but I'd give the slight edge for that to LSU. Now, switching gears, going over to the LSU side of things. LSU averaging 48.9 points per game, and that is 4 more points than Clemson is averaging. And LSU is putting up 397.2 yards per game. Passing yards per game, with a total of 564 yards total per game. And LSU is averaging 167, call it, rushing yards per game. So with Clemson, they outrush LSU on the ground every game, but they are averaging more passing yards per game. So what does that tell us? It seems like Clemson is the better team on the ground. I don't know if that is true or not. Again, the defenses in the ACC compared to the defenses in the SEC West is a totally, you cannot make comparisons as far as those two go. The SEC defenses could beat some of the low-level NFL teams, and if they couldn't beat them, they could at least compete with them. So I'm going to give the edge to LSU once again. LSU defense, they're giving up 342 yards a game. 342. Now, as far as total offense and total defense is concerned, total offense, LSU ranks number 1 in the country in total offense, with Clemson coming in closely behind at number 4. Here is the big discrepancy. In defense, LSU is 29th in the country, and the Clemson Tigers are number 2 in the country. So, like I said earlier, I fully expect Clemson to be able to go up and down the field on LSU tonight. Will LSU be able to return the favor? The statistics suggest that LSU will not be able to move the ball like that on Clemson. The thing that I keep saying over and over and over again, the defenses in the SEC compared to the defenses in the ACC, it's not even comparable. The same can be true for the offenses. I think as a whole, the ACC could have had some better offenses than the SEC. That's simply because the SEC is just rugged football. They like to line up and run the football. The ACC seems to spread it out a little more and air it out a little more. So I'm going to give the slight edge to Clemson on this one. I think Clemson is going to be able to move the football, and I think at key times in the game, they'll be able to stand up to that very talented LSU offense. Now, let's go to the quarterback comparison. Joe Burrow on the season had 5,208 yards while completing 55 touchdowns and only throwing 6 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence, 3,431 yards through the air with 36 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. I don't think Trevor Lawrence played nearly as much as Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow is your Heisman winner. He's going to be the lock as the number 1 pick in the draft, this coming draft, to the Cincinnati Bengals. And Trevor Lawrence, whoever is going to have the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft, will be the number 1 draft pick of that class. So you have 2 great quarterbacks going at it tonight. And then Clemson wins by an average of 32.9 points per game and LSU 25.4 points per game. So those are the statistics. The statistics, in my view, is telling you to take the LSU Tigers. Now, in my opinion, I think Clemson is being undersold. The reason that I think Clemson is being undersold is simply because for majority of the season, Clemson does not have to show you their entire playbook. They just don't. They have more talent than all of the other teams in the ACC combined. These kids, 5-star after 5-star after 5-star. When they run out of 5 stars, they got 4 stars. It is insane the amount of talent that Clemson is getting on a yearly basis. They are up there competing with Alabama for recruiting rankings every single season. And in the last 2 seasons, in my humble opinion, they have out-recruited Alabama. Not only that, but Clemson has been there the last 3 or 4 seasons. These kids know what to expect going into this game. They are the defending national champions. Nobody was giving them much of a shot last year, and they went in and they steamrolled Alabama. Absolutely made Alabama look like they did not belong in the national championship game, when Alabama had been the most dominant team in football all year long. I think Clemson's being undersold. I think Clemson is going to hit LSU tomorrow with stuff that we have not seen them do all season long because they did not have to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Clemson Tigers to win their 2nd straight national title tonight against the LSU Tigers. And I think they will do so between 7 and 10 points. That being said, I can easily see this going to LSU's favor. I just think that LSU is going to have a tough time defending Clemson. And I think Clemson, with all the studs that they have on defense, they have one of the best defensive lines in the country. Their secondary is second to none. They're going to be able to play man-to-man football with LSU. And LSU struggled a little bit against Alabama and Auburn, and I think Clemson has more talent than either one of those 2 teams. So I'm taking the Clemson Tigers to win the national championship. We'll see if I'm right. But as I close this episode out, I would like to do so by reminding you about my friends at ShadyRays.com. If you are in the market for sunglasses, spring is right around the corner, folks. If you are going to be in the market for sunglasses, there is no better sunglasses than Shady Rays. Go to ShadyRays.com, check them out. If you ever lose your sunglasses, if you ever break your sunglasses, they have a lifetime warranty on it. All you got to do is contact them and pay for shipping, and they will get you a new pair in the mail, and you get it 3 or 4 days tops. So go to ShadyRays.com and get you a pair of sunglasses. If you want to hit me up, if you want to send me an email, that's ontheglass34@gmail.com, ontheglass34@gmail.com. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything you would like for me to talk about in these upcoming videos, ontheglass34@gmail.com. If you would like to, please like and subscribe to this channel. Just hit that subscribe button right down here, and you'll be up to date on everything that we post. And I would really like to get my subscription count up, get my views up, and if you would like to, share this video. But for now, this has been a college football playoff preview of episode of On the Glass. I am your host, Brandon Abels, and we will see you next time.